they play Ashiok. Okay. Sure. That's fine. Didn't want to cast this Summoner's Pact anyways. It's no big deal. Ooh, a Talari West that we can't transmute. You know, it's cool, it's cool. Hello and welcome, everybody. We are here with a fresh new league here with Karn, the Great Creator of all things. So today we're looking at a list that is based off of this list by Yusa Monitz that just got a 6-1 and a modern challenge. But not only this list, but several other lists very similar. Monitz has been doing very well recently with some Karn, the Great Creators, playing Esika's Chariot in the sideboard, among other things. We also don't see a Worm Coil in this list, but a Golos Tireless Pilgrim instead. Just some interesting things going on, and just recently, Monitz has been absolutely killing it with Karn, the Great Creator, in his amulet lists, and here we are to give a bit of a Monitz-style Karn build a shot once again. And for those of you who are a fan of Arboreal Grazer over Tribe Scout in today's meta, this one is for you, as we are playing some Grazers to go along with our Karns, get a little bit of blocking done, you know the deal. And yeah, we're still being conscious of our turn 1 green sources. Most lists play around 8, but I'm trying to bump it up as much as possible, so here we have a full 11 copies, including 1 turn Timber Symbiosis, just so we can spike that Primeval Titan like the lucky people that we are. And we're not playing something like a Colony Garden, for example. We're only playing 2 Castle Garenbrig. That would be pretty normal, playing Karn the Great Creators anyways. Yeah, we've got our Explorers. No Ancient Stirrings, an interesting choice for a Karn build. I find Stirrings to be a little clunky, and especially when you're not focusing on having turn 1 green sources available, you might not even be able to cast Ancient Stirrings when you want to. So, yeah, we're doing some interesting things here. For our Karn sideboard, we have Golos, we have Sky Sovereign, of course, the boat, we have Liquid Metal Coating and Tormod's Crypt, and then a newer one, Esika's Chariot. This is a 4-mana vehicle. It's a 4/4 when it's crewed, which costs 4 to crew. And when it enters the battlefield, it creates 2/2 green cat creature tokens. And whenever it attacks, we get to make a token that's a copy of a token that we control. So you can make 2/2 cats, and then the turn after, you can use those 2 cats to crew it up, attack for 4, and then make another 2/2 cat, and just continue going from there. It's a very good mid-rangey kind of threat. In a way, it reminds me of something like Huntmaster of the Fells, so we'll see if that one turns out to be good here. We do also see our normal Force of Vigors, Reclamation Sage, Obstinate Baloth for the aggro matchups, Dismembers for the Heliod matchup, Engineered Explosives, of course, and we're already kind of, I guess you could say, pre-boarded against the control decks, as we are playing Karn the Great Creator here, in addition to a billion copies of Explorer, the Control Killer. So yeah, we've got a lot of cool stuff going on in this list, and let's just hop into the match and see how it goes. Alright, now is the time for you to use your intuition. Are we going to be putting Primeval Titan or Karn the Great Creator into play for this game? Game 1 here, playing against Fair MTG. Not familiar with the username. One of the creepier images here that you could choose for a image representation. I, of course, have this aggressive rhino here, just to go along with the idea of a red face menace. Or mean. Or angry. Seems our opponent is taking some time to deliberate here on whether or not to go first, so... Alrighty, we get to see a hand. This hand would be significantly better if we had Scout instead of Grazer for extra potential land plays. Although we wouldn't get to play Scout on one anyways, but we do have an Amulet. We can cast a turn 2 Grazer to get some blocks, and maybe help us ramp. If we draw a Titan, then we can use a Zeusa off of the Summoner's Pact to get to Titan, and vice versa if we draw a Zeusa. I mean, I do think we're supposed to keep this, especially on the draw anyways. We have a turn 2 Karn here if we draw Karn off the top as well. Thoughtseize. Probably taking this Amulet. That makes this hand quite a bit slower. Unfortunately. Probably leaning on Talari West then, assuming they take the Amulet. That would be my assumption. They take the Amulet. Well, there's the Titan. Yeah, let's just play out the Talari West and pass it back. Could Vesuva Godless Shrine here, but I think that the blue mana in play is going to be more useful than having a Godless Shrine. It's not like it taps for any relevant colors or anything. And we're just on the slow roll here. Gotta play a turn 3 Grazer. Ayy. Field of Ruin. Oh, they're not activating it, though. I mean, it's still not good for us regardless, but... Alright, so... I don't know if it matters what lands we put into play here. Maybe we want to Vesuva copy in the Growth Chamber. Maybe not. We're obviously playing a Grazer. I think maybe just Grazering in the Talari West or Radiant Fountain. I guess Radiant Fountain is good so we can pick it back up and gain some more life. And I think I am going to play the Vesuva here so we have guaranteed access to multiple bounce lands here if at all possible. Yep. And now we get to pass it back. I mean, we're slowly ramping into Titan. And our opponent's playing, it seems to be a more grindy black-white type of mid-range deck, which is probably good for us. They do field the Vesuva. Not much we can do about that. We'll still be able to Titan in 2 turns from now regardless, I do believe. Oh, or our opponent could have a second Field of Ruin, that's fine. At least we can block these spirits here with our Reach blocker. Alright, we could also use this turn to pact for an Azusa or Dryad, which is not the worst. I think just playing Titan this upcoming turn regardless is going to be better. I guess we don't have Titan if our opponent goes for the field. If we pact for Azusa and play land, for example, and they blow something up, and then we still don't lose to our pact, but we'd have to tap out the turn after. That may not be too much of a problem. So if we play land, Grazer in, Growth Chamber, and they blow up a field, we'd have to have a second land drop to play Titan. So we're not playing Titan 2 turns from now anyways, assuming our opponent uses field. So I guess we probably want to use this turn to pact. It's not obvious whether we want to pact for Dryad or Azusa here. Let's see, if we pact for Dryad and play land, and they field us, then we can still pay. I guess we would run into trouble if they have a second field if we run out our Simic Growth Chamber instead of just playing, like, Talari West Radiant Fountain. I guess we could play around that by playing these 2. And then the turn after we have... Oh, we just have to pay for Pact anyway, so we don't have to worry about sequencing to cast Titan the turn after. Yeah, I guess Pacting for Dryad is going to be the play here. So let's lead off on the Radiant Fountain. We'll Pact, get Dryad, play Dryad, play Talari West. That or the Heath. We might want to keep Talari West in hand so we can transmute it and not lose access to Bounce Land. But we might also need the untapped source. I'm just going to play the T-West out. I guess we can actually Grazer in a land here too, which is pretty good. Let's Grazer in the Growth Chamber, I suppose. Yeah, now double field doesn't bother us. Okay. Well, we're on board, that's for sure. If we Karn minus for Engineered Explosives, we could play it on 0 and blow it up and do a significant amount of damage to our opponent's board state for just 2 mana. They do go straight for the field. This is fine. We have plenty of basics where that one came from. Tide Hollow Sculler to take our Titan. That is pretty annoying. Not that we could have done anything about it. Man, we have gained so much life this game just from Radiant Fountain and Grazers alone. Alright, let's not lose the game. Seems like a plan, I would say. Explore. Alright, we can play that even off of this Radiant Fountain here, thanks to our Dryad ability. I think we do want to explore to try to find another Titan. Or another Explorer, that's cool too. I think we just hold the Windswept Heath in case we find a way to get access to a Valakut in the Molten Pinnacle here. Either by top decking a Talari West that we would potentially transmute for Valakut, or just naturally drawing it. It would be defensible to transmute for Valakut, just because we could potentially get our opponent's Tide Hollow Sculler out of play to get access to Titan. A Thoughtseize away our Explorer. Pretty unfortunate. Alright, we'll take our 3 damage here. Sword. That's extremely unfortunate. I think we are probably transmuting for Valakut. 3, yeah. I think that's our only real option here, so let's do that. Right at this Tide Hollow Scholar. Get out of here. Unfortunately, we don't get another land drop here. I am still just clocking with the Dryad here, though. We might need to win by damage through Valakut triggers, so... And we're at 20. I mean, we're about to be at a lot less. This is protection from red and blue. We can still chump with a Grazer. Which we might want to do that just to prevent them from getting the extra card. I'm not really opposed to that at all. See if our opponent has another discard spell type effect. Even if they had Tide Hollow Scholar here, that would not be enough because we could play Heath, kill the Scholar, get the Titan back, and then play it. So they would need an actual like Thoughtseize here, and it can't be Inquisition either. It would have to be actual Thoughtseize, which they've already played 2 of. So Scholar here doesn't bother me. If they're equipping Sword, then we'll just chump, I think. There's a Scholar. This is fine. Maybe they kill their own Scholar with the trigger on the stack. That would be a super heads-up play. Hey, look at our opponent. Finding the lines. Well, of course, so what this means is the Scholar leaving the battlefield would trigger to let us get our card back, but there is no card to get back. And then the Tide Hollow comes into play, exiling our Titan. So we still need something here. Grazer not really doing too much. We could send 2 Valakut triggers up at them. And then swing. I think we need to shoot at least one of the spirits so they can't just quadruple block our Dryad here. So I think that's where we'll start. And then we'll decide what we want to do with this Windswept Teeth fetch after, I suppose. If they had another Fatal Push, they could push our Dryad, and then we'd be able to fetch in response and get an extra trigger. So, yeah, I think this is good for us. And then we'll just hold on to the Grazer. Potentially as discard fodder in the future for a Liliana of the Veil, for example. We'll let this go. We can actually just go ahead and do a Valakut trigger to this one if we want to. I don't think we need to, though. Probably just blocking with the Grazer is fine. Yeah, I'd rather chump here than use up a Valakut trigger that might do lethal damage to our opponent. In fact, if they go to... Oh, they didn't equip. Well, they could have equipped to try to block our Dryad, but okay. Bounce land. Yeah, that's pretty good. So we only have 9... No, we have exactly 10 in damage thanks to holding the Grazer. And we don't want to let our opponent Revolt Fatal Push first things first. So let's start by playing out some land drops here. And sending our triggers upstairs. This is why we hold cards in hand that we don't need to play. Did we steal it off of Transmuting for Valakut? Transmuting for Valakut is one of my secret favorite things to do in this deck. It doesn't come up that often. It mostly comes up against Eldrazi-tron in my humble experience. But, it's very satisfying to do so. Get our tap breeding pool here. For the mana fixing, you know? Lethal damage? Nice. Kaya's Guile to gain life and make us sack a Grazer. Ruthless. Alright, well, now we can swing into our opponent's 1/1 and they have to block, so that's what we're doing. I guess we're chump blocking a Spirit again, so they can't get another card deeper. We would be opening ourselves up to another Kaya's Guile, potentially. Actually, I kind of think we just take the damage. They're going to get an extra card and a draw out of it, but Fatal Push the Grazer. Okay, well, I guess they're not giving us the option. This is interesting. If they have the answer for Dryad, then we might be in trouble here. Let's see if they have the answer. We do have lethal on board. Okay, well, we need a Titan off the top, or a Karn even would be quite good. Amulet. That's not doing a whole lot here, but we'll play it and pass. Well, we might be in a lot of trouble now. Our opponent just slow-rolled us on that Kaya's Guile. Let us get too many triggers out of our Dryad beforehand. Shambling Vent as well. Interesting. I guess we put our green-white land in play, so we have more ease of activating something like Slayer Stronghold. Pick up this fountain and just pass it back. Clink to Dust. Our opponent's got the card advantage going here. Our opponent has 7 damage available right now. That is not lethal damage. A top deck Titan might still just win us the game. Alright, Titan, Summoner's Pact, Talari West. I don't know if Karn does it anymore. I think Karn probably does not. Or just land. That's cool too. You know, just basic land, that's fine. It's all good, it's all good. No big deal. Alright, so against our opponent, it's pretty clear that we want access to Dismember here. They could have things like Stoneforge Mystic in addition to their Tide Hollow Scholars and maybe even Dark Confidant, so Dismember is going to be a good one. Maybe a couple of explosives is good too, especially since our opponent's on a tokens slash sword type plan. Actually, especially considering we saw Sword of Fire and Ice, we could probably put our opponent on a Stoneblade deck, so Rex Sage is good too. In fact, maybe Force is good. Force is good, especially because it also happens to hit Tide Hollow Scholar, so I actually like Force here also. What do we want to cut? Graze is not that great. Summoner's Pact, we can trim 1. Bog is unlikely to matter. Cavern is unlikely to matter. Let's sort by mana value here. Is Karn very good? It stops our opponent from being able to, like, equip swords and stuff, but it also just gets clocked down by Lingering Souls, Spirits, and creature threats our opponent could have. Just playing a card in a minus getting explosives doesn't actually seem that great. I guess our opponent could be playing Aether Vial, but even then they'll probably get a couple creatures in play to pressure Karn before Karn turns off Vial, so I'm not really a fan of Karn here. We'll just bring in the explosives. For that matter, maybe trim and explore. Maybe it's a little bit of a faster matchup since we are potentially facing down Stoneforge Mystic and we want to be able to outpace what our opponent could have going. I don't mind this setup. We'll play first. Well, this hand needs a lot of lands, so we're going to mulligan. And this hand has a lot of what we were missing, so we'll keep. I kind of feel like the Grazer is a bit redundant here. I feel like we could bottom the Grazer pretty easily and just go turn 1 Amulet, turn 2 Dryad. And have a turn 3 Titan ready to go if we top deck it. Yeah, let's just get rid of the Grazer. Doesn't help us play around Kai's Guile, but I think we'll make do. Play the Amulet pass. See if our opponent has the discard spell. Yep, they have Inquisition. I mean, not much we can do about it. Summoner's Pact. Well, I guess we're playing out this Turn Timber and passing. Not paying the 3 life, of course. Just bolt ourselves for no reason. Stoneforge Mystic, that resolves. See what they get. Feast and Famine. The question is, do we just go ahead and dismember this? Because our opponent could have Batterskull in hand, which means that letting them untap with a Stoneforge would be just a really bad play. If they don't have the Batterskull, though, then I guess we still don't want them to cheat out their sword, so I'm just going to go ahead and fire off the Dismember here. Garen Brig, okay, that means we have Titan this upcoming turn, which is nice. Assuming they don't have a discard spell. Well, also assuming they don't hold up Field of Ruin, which they might. They might do that. They play Ashiok. Okay. Sure. That's fine. Didn't want to cast this Summoner's Pact anyways. It's no big deal. Ooh, a Talari West that we can't transmute. You know, it's cool, it's cool. It's all good. Not dying inside over here at all. Oh, man. Alright, opponent, let's see what you got. Fulminator Mage, get out of here. Stop with the nonsense. We don't like it. Right, land pass. If our opponent is not savvy with their Field of Ruin, we could potentially turn Timber into something, as this one is not turned off by Ashiok. Inquisition for the Summoner's Pact that we can't cast anyways, that's totally fine with me. Skyclave Apparition on the Amulet, well, that stops us from doing the Turn Timber thing. And it makes us play out our Simic Growth Chamber as well. Azusa. I mean, I guess we're playing that. And we'll pick up the Turn Timber here, as we don't really have another choice. Our opponent's gonna field or Fulminator our Simic Growth Chamber into Oblivion. And then we're gonna be super far away from ever doing anything. Would have liked to have Karn. Although, to be honest, Karn would probably just die on this board. There's the sword. Alright, so our opponent's not going for the field. If we top deck an untapped source, then we could potentially just hardcast Turn Timber, assuming they don't Fulminator us. Might not be a good assumption, just being honest, of the attack, of course. Well, we're not blocking. Oh, we have to discard the Turn Timber. Yeah, I don't think we can win this game anymore. Batterskull. So they had the Batterskull in hand as well, quite potentially. There goes our Growth Chamber. Grazer's not really helping us. I mean, we're going to have to discard it to the sword trigger anyway, so might as well play it. And can't clock our opponent's Ashiok because we would just lose our Azusa to the Germ. You know, just normal stuff going on over here. Nothing too super crazy. I guess we chump the Germ, so we're not just instantaneously dead this upcoming turn. Although they can re-equip the sword to have us. Alright, well, yeah. They just re-equip the sword and we're dead, so let's just scoop it up. Well, not a great look for match 1. I feel like we had a overwhelmingly positive shot at winning the game in game 1 there. And in game 2, things just slipped away. I guess that's just Ashiok Dreamrender doing what Ashiok does and stopping us from having any shot. That's kind of what that card does. So, in the past, people have played things like Beast Within to deal with Ashiok, and it's still reasonable. Not a lot of Ashioks around these days, but of course, if Amulet ever is a big deck, then Ashiok will be on the resurgence. But that's alright, that's just how it goes. So, yeah, I will see you guys in round 2 here. This is Redface Menace, signing off.